This is now the third time I'm going to record this video, okay? So the NHL just basically confirmed what we already knew about the playoffs that are coming this year. But something they did say was that it confirmed completely is that the NHL regular season for 1920 is over. Done. So the Blues have won their division and the conference. Vegas won their division. Boston won their division, the conference, and the league. And I want to say the Capitals won their division. So those four teams will get a bye, I believe. Yes. And then, along with that, the top four in each conference will get a bye. So it's looking right now. Let's see. So Boston, Tampa, Washington, Philadelphia, they get byes for the first round. They'll play a round robin style kind of, warm up thing. They'll play each team, and then they'll get three seeded. So Boston may not stay on top. Tampa Bay might steal the top prize. Hell, the Flyers might be first in the conference by the end of it. Anyway, regardless, and all this is done based on points percentage. So the Bruins, Lightning, Capitals, Flyers, the Blues, Avalanche, Knights, and Stars. They all get byes. In the round robin, the East will be in one city, the West will be in another city. I'll get to that in a second. The best of five qualifying round will include, kind of like what I did last week, except I did best of three. Best of five changes my predictions a little bit. For the most part, I think the Boston Golden Knights are still going to meet in the finals. Whatever. So these qualifying rounds for each. So for the East, it'll be Pittsburgh and Montreal, Carolina and New York, Islanders, and Florida and Toronto and Columbus. For the West, it'll be Edmonton and Chicago, Nashville and Arizona, Vancouver and Minnesota, and Calgary and Winnipeg. The winners of those will move on and play whoever they have to play. The Players Association still has to decide whether or not they want to do a bracket format or if they want to do a seeded format. If they do a seeded format, everything will change in terms of who the qualifying round plays next, and so on and so forth. It'll be a lot more like the NFL playoffs in that higher seed plays lower seed at all times. For people who are here for my Preds stuff, the Preds will play. Who are the Preds playing? So they're sixth. They're the sixth seed. So they'll play the Coyotes, who are the seventh. Who are the 11th seed. There's a lot of, and so there's that. That's confirming what we already knew to an extent. They also released their return to play phases. So right now they're in phase one, which is you're quarantining, you're at your house, you're social distancing, you're doing all that as much as you can for teams. I don't know if it goes for the same people in Sweden because they've been on the ice this entire time. Sweden did not shut down. Phase 2 will start in early June, which is in 2 weeks. Next week is the last week of May, and then the week after is the first week of June. In early June, it is expected that teams will be permitted to return to home facilities for small groups, voluntary, and on and off ice training, which means I believe I saw only 6 players can be on the ice. So that'll give time for offensive players to work on their stuff. Like you could probably work on the power play. No defense, but you can work on the power play. You can do all this kind of stuff. I remember seeing no coaches are allowed at these practices, but you get to do whatever you want, get back into game shape. But the most important thing is that these players are allowed to skate. Phase 3, which won't be entered until the early half of July, which means they're going to have a month to get back into shape, which I doubt they're out of shape. I'm sure that most of them have been working out pretty well, pretty consistently. Phase 3 is not earlier than the first half of July. Formal training camps will begin after guidance from medical and civil authorities, which means, if permitted, teams can go back to practicing. That'll depend on state guidelines. It'll depend on province guidelines, and it'll depend on the country's guidelines. Now, the U.S. is going to be a lot less strict than Canada is. That's how it's been this entire quarantine period, but whatever. It's all very good. It's all good and well. So, I'm assuming all players are going to report to their home state or their home team's area. National players going to head back to Nashville, Vancouver back to Vancouver, etc., etc. Sports players are travel between the U.S. and Canada, and I believe Canada and most other countries is prohibited unless you're an athlete. So there's that. And then Phase 4 is the 24 teams and 2 hubs cities will compete in seeding round robins, a qualifying round, and conference-based Stanley Cup playoffs. So 12 teams will make it. They'll be separated into 2 different cities with controlled hotels, facilities, workout facilities, restaurants, and playing facilities. The hub cities will be picked amongst they've narrowed it down to these cities: Chicago, Illinois; Columbus, Ohio; Dallas, Texas; Edmonton, Alberta; Las Vegas, Nevada; Los Angeles, California; Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota; Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania; Toronto, Ontario; Vancouver, British Columbia. My opinion is that they're not going to use Alberta, Ontario, or British Columbia because of how strict the Canadians have been with the lockdown and stuff like that. It might ease up by the time we get into whenever there is no timing for Phase 4, but whenever we get into Phase 4, it might be much less. Just kind of depends on a lot of factors, really. And that might change, but I think for the most part, Edmonton, Toronto, and what's the other one? Vancouver will probably not have it. So each conference assigned to a hub city with secure hotels, arenas, practice facilities, and market transportation. I just mentioned that. Teams will be. This is another big one. More for the teams, less for us. Teams will be limited to 50 personnel in the hub city, with only a small number of support staff permitted to enter the event arenas. I'm assuming that's like announcers and camera crews, social media people, not social media people, reporters, stuff like that. I'm assuming. I have no clue for sure. Timing insights will be determined at a future date and will depend on COVID-19 conditions, testing ability, and government regulations. I saw something about the testing. I'm not going to go too much into that because I'm not a scientist. I'm an engineer, and I don't really delve into that kind of stuff. Mechanical engineer, not biomedical. So like I said, round robin, qualifying round, first, second rounds will be in that same city. The conference final and Stanley Cup finals may be moved to one city. They have yet to figure that out. They're going to do that. So the individual first round series matchups remain to be determined because they don't know if they're going to do seeding or bracket. I'm sure we'll get that news in a couple days, and once we do, I'll make another video. So that we knew about. That's what my predictions were last week. Nothing much changes from my predictions. Really, the teams that change are Vancouver's playing the Wild, Nashville's playing the Coyotes, and Carolina's playing New York, and New York Islanders playing the Panthers. That's pretty much the only thing that changed. I think the Rangers still going to beat the Canes. Oh, and the Leafs play the Blue Jackets. Rangers beat the Canes. Islanders beat the Panthers, and the Leafs beat the Blue Jackets. And then I don't think any of them move on past that. And then Nashville beats Arizona. Vancouver beats the Wild, and the Edmonton series is different, I believe. Yeah, Edmonton beats Chicago. Anyway, no, I don't think that was different. Anyway, not much changes after that. So this is the part that's really complicated. How far am I into this? 9 minutes. Okay. Phase 1 of the draft lottery. There'll be going to be 2 phases. Let me just start over. In the 2020 NHL draft lottery will determine the order of the first 15 selections of the 2020 NHL draft. The picks will be awarded to the 7 teams that do not resume play and the 8 teams that do not advance from qualifying round, or the teams that acquire their first round picks. Here's the thing. They're going to do it in 2 phases. Phase 1 of the draft lottery will be conducted prior to the qualifying round on Friday, June 26th. There'll be 3 draws. First draw, second draw, and third draw for the first overall, second overall, and third overall picks. Clubs entered the 7 the 7 teams that do not return to play, ranked in inverse order of their points percentage, all at the time of the regular season pause, and the 8 placeholders to represent the to be determined qualifying round teams that will not advance, thus maintaining previously established odds. So, if you want to see what the odds are, the Detroit Red Wings have 18.5. Senators have 2 picks. They have theirs and San Jose's from the Erik Karlsson trade. Sorry. The first one is 13.5%. Second is 11.5%. LA has a 9.5%. Anaheim 8.5%. New Jersey 7.5%. Buffalo 6.5%. Odds at getting first round. Team A has 6.5, B 6.6%. No, sorry. Team A has 6%, B 5%, C 3.5%, D 3%, E 2.5%, F 2%, G 1.5%, and H 1% at getting the first round pick. It's very confusing. So, let's see. And that'll happen on Friday, June 26th. And so the first draw is if the winning team... There's some more to expand on. First draw. If the winning team of the first draw is from number 1 through 7 group, that team wins the right to the first overall pick in the 2020 NHL draft. So if they didn't make the playoffs and they win the draft lottery, cool. If the winning team of the first draw is from 8 to 15, the right to the first overall pick will be determined in Phase 2 of the draft lottery. After the first draw, the winning team will no longer be eligible for the second or third draws. All number combinations originally assigned to the teams will become redraw combinations for the second and third draws. The remaining teams' odds will increase on a proportionate basis for the second draw based on which team wins the first draw. So basically what happens is if a team that didn't make the playoffs here wins the draw, that's it. That's final. Cool. If a team that made the playoffs and they're going to get eliminated wins the draw, then it'll be redrawn in the second phase, which, same thing with the second and third draw. Phase 2 of the draft lottery, if necessary, will be conducted between the qualifying round and the first round of the playoffs. Phase 2 participants, will be the 8 teams that do not advance from the qualifying round. Following each Phase 2 draw, the winning team will be assigned the corresponding top 3 selection, and if another Phase 2 draw is necessary, the team's numbered lottery ball will be removed. When all Phase 1 and Phase 2 draws are completed and the top 3 selections in the 2020 NHL Draft assigned, the remaining selections in the top 15 will be assigned to the 12 teams that did not win a draw in inverse order of their points percentage at the time of the season's pause. In each Phase 2 draw, all participants will have the same odds. So that's how that's going to go. That part's extremely confusing, and I'm interested to read the articles to see if anyone can make any clarity. I tried to in the first part of it, but it's very complicated for no goddamn reason. But that's just how it is. I believe that's all the updates. Like I said, first half of early June, everyone can start coming back and practicing in 6-man units or by themselves, whatever, up to 6-man units. Early June we go, and early July, first half of July, we will hit training camps, and Phase 4 we don't know yet. It really depends on the city's codes, and it depends that the 2 cities codes that the hubs are going to be in, and where the teams think they are in terms of training. That's a lot. I was able to fit it in 14 minutes. I'm not going to edit this. I know there's a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of pauses, but I'm not going to edit it just because I want to get it out as fast as I can. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe. Thank you to everyone who subscribed most recently. Thank you to all 500 of you who watched the video. I may whether in its entirety or not. So yeah, I'll try to get another video out this week, maybe if we have any more updates. Otherwise, have a great day, great night, great whatever. And I will see you and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out, party people.